everybody. So here we are. We're doing another video today with Chris Vandenberg at the Blaster Factory War Machine Paintball. And you know me because you're on my channel.
Scott Juarez, baby.
And so we're going to talk about, we're going to do a Leia update.
Yep.
A Leia Blaster update. And maybe we won't get too far off topic today.
No, and you know what? We can't because I got a lot going on. I'm trying to get these things ready. And this is probably the last update video we'll do, because the next time you'll see these things, I'll probably go live with them, what the end of the month thing or whatever they call that, cyber whatever weekend, Monday, Black Friday.
Yeah, right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So, you know, we're literally at it. I've got boxes and boxes of frames and parts and pieces, and I'm going through right now and finding all the dowel pins. I forget y'all can't see all this stuff over here, but there we go. That might help. But you see, I'm working out getting all the dowels and fasteners and springs. There's a lot of little teeny parts to this build, Scott. It's gonna be fun.
That's cool. It's gonna be. It sounds intimidating.
You know what? I'm sitting here and thinking to myself, you know, anytime I've done any build, I mean, the last one back here, you know, where we're doing the bowcaster, which, you know, after you spend a couple of weeks, you get it all lined up, you get the assembly lines, you make sure, you know, Katie and all the girls can pull the stuff and do it right. And I end up making assembly things like this.
Yeah.
So that, you know, you can lay parts out, you know, when you're doing the assemblies. And that's kind of where I am on the Leia right now, is to really button it down. And, you know, there's a bunch of little dowel pins, you know, that hold this thing together. God, I hope y'all can see this without.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, I mean, all these holes, you know, for the sear hole, the hole that holds the sight bridge on, the trigger pins.
Are these going to be really tight fit?
Nothing that you don't have, that you should be able to just use a little jeweler's hammer or a little ball peen or something real simple. Some of them I can't make super loose because they won't function. Okay.
Okay.
Especially when you get into the sear area.
Yeah. And
the trigger area, because if that gets too sloppy, it's not gonna release the hammer. And there's a lot going on in this little section right here. This literally has taken me months to get right. I got a cutaway version here. I think I showed this last time. I haven't lost the part here. Got about 1,000 things on my bench. Well, anyway, here's the real one. You've got now this is the part of the Margolin you don't see.
Yeah.
And Scott, I doubt if you've ever tore your gun down.
No, not that far. I've only ever field stripped it, because forget taking it. It looks like it just sucked, because there are pins holding like the barrel in and everything like that. Forget it.
Well, you know, sucking is probably an underestimate of what the task would be, but yes, it's awful actually. And I've got 2 Margolins, real ones, and when I put this one back together, I'm dreading the hell out of it. But I have simplified. It is simpler to do this than the real gun, I promise you, because, you know, of course, it's not a real gun. But I don't know, last time, did I show won't glare on us, you know, how the inside?
Well, we saw it on a Facebook update, I think, but I don't know if we did one on this kind of video.
Because you can see through here the springway.
Yeah.
It goes all the way through to where you got the release for the mag.
Wow.
Pretty ingenious. So they drilled a hole up through the back strap to accommodate both of these mechanisms. It's neat. This pin here is the pivot point for the mag release. Okay. This pin that's right here that gets covered by the grip is the stop for the spring for the back strap for the hammer.
Wow.
The hammer looks like this guy here.
Yeah.
Okay. And it drops in here at an angle, and you see how it works in the back strap here. Kind of follows the contour. Can you see that? Is it not too much glare? But I thought that was really neat. And I mean, he used every available space inside of this frame is doing something. There's nothing wasted. There's no chunks of metal here. Everything's cut out. Everything's got a purpose in it. There's no wasted space.
Wow.
It made it really hard. When you've got a machine, when you've got small end mills having to go real deep into stuff, it is really tough.
I bet, because they'll deflect.
Made.
Wow.
Even, I don't think I've shown that. I hate this glare. If I wanted glare, I couldn't have it. Now that I don't want it, I think this will get out of it here. With that light. Can you see that on the bottom of the, there it is. See,
yeah.
See if the Mario does it have that screw right there?
Mine does, yeah. They all do.
But
right
they're
there.
supposed to. Yep. Yep. And I've actually that's there, and I made
best I can tell it's to stop the trigger from going too far back.
Yep. Yep. It's to pin your trigger back. And made the little tiny reproduction screw. Got those. Yep. So that it'll be exactly like the real one. Goes in there. I don't think I had that last time we talked, or the holes in them yet. But I'm really happy how this is starting to. This is when I've got the sear and the hammer and the spring is all mounted in there, and that's what it's gonna.
Wow.
Yep. Now I don't have the trigger and it doesn't lock yet, but now one tricky thing about assembling this is you have to put the sight bridge on. I call it the sight bridge. I don't know what the real name they call it, but
right.
The sight bridge here, there's a cutout hole right here where the edge of the sear is, where that little pin sticks out. Remember I was talking about, I thought how hard this part was going to make because it's that little part sticking out.
Right.
But that's actually where the trigger is going to hit that and makes it release the trigger. Well, we'll release the hammer. So you have to, all of this gets pinned in place. There's two pins that go all the way across. You have to slip this in behind here, get that little boss to stick out right here. And then the trigger piece will come up here and capture it. And that's actually what I'm doing today is working out all the pin links and how they're going to go in. Because it is, if I had to do this like the real gun, you notice on yours, it is really tight. That stuff don't just fall out.
Right.
Well, I have to make it for you guys so you can actually assemble it. So
speaking of assembly, I'm wondering, I'm thinking logistically of how I'm going to paint those things because paint adds thickness and will screw up tolerances and make things not work.
You know, I think when you get down in here, stuff that covers the grip that might be critical, you might
have to mask it off.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you put it together, then paint to this far or something.
Yeah.
And you can drop the hammer in at the very last. That's the one good thing. That you just knock this pin out, you drop that out at the end. Now, I did mention too, I don't know if I'll have these ready. Getting anodizing done is very slow right now. I've got a guy who polishes and anodizes, but that may be months. I mean, literally, I haven't even really got to that part of it, but that could add $200 or $300 to this replica trying to do that kind of finish on it right now. It really kind of cost prohibitive, but I may do some in the future. I don't know.
Like a limited
maybe
run
on
or
the
something.
Next run or something. There's not but 100, by the way, guys. There's 100 of these things flat out. Maybe one or two extra, like for you guys to piddle with, but
there's going to be one for the giveaway, so don't forget about that.
That's right.
We'll figure that out, but we'll do one last video pumping that up right when it's ready, and then we'll give it to I don't know if we should give it to the end of the year for people to enter or Thanksgiving. Well, because that's only that's really close, or just December 1st or something.
I know. I mean, going to the end of the year, I mean, I think a lot more traffic, kind of hits during that time. And don't we have another series or something hitting soon? Is there anything else coming out? Mando's next year, right? January or something?
I don't know. I haven't kept up with it when Mando season 3 is coming out. Probably not this year. There would have been I would imagine there would have been advertisements already, but who knows? Yeah. I haven't watched Andor yet, and I haven't watched Tales of the Jedi yet.
Tales of the Jedi is fun. Enjoyed that. Andor, I see all the feeds. You know, a lot of people are hating on it, but you know, there again, I think when the guys are setting up a story and creating background on the characters, and you know, you're not walking in the door shooting everybody. I think that you know, I think a lot of fans don't give it a chance.
Right.
You know, there's more to their world than just, you know, shooting everybody. So,
Right.
you know, and those characters, I think they're developing the Andor characters, especially him. I think that's really, if they'll keep pursuing that, I think that's going to be a really good series.
Is that series done or is it still coming out?
No, it's done. I think they had the
Done.
finale of it.
Okay.
I wish they wouldn't have stopped. You know, I won't spoil any of it. I mean, probably everybody's already seen it, but it's good. It's just a good, entertaining story. You know, I sometimes I wonder what people want. You know, it's like, good God. I mean, it's, you know, it's Star Wars. I mean, it's, you know, Mon Mothma. That's the one thing one of my favorite things about it, and you'll see that too, because you never hear much about her. You
Right.
know, you're getting to see where she's from and how, you know, this is how she's getting deeper and deeper in the rebellion. So I thought that was awesome.
Cool.
You know,
I haven't watched it just
developing
because I'm trying to get my son to finish the original 2D Clone Wars series with me. So we're watching that
yeah,
because we have to watch that for episode 3 to make more sense, and then watch Clone Wars, and then he'll watch episode 3. So we're doing this kind of, it's taking some time.
well, you know, Henry Barsh, who is on my Facebook, helps with a lot of stuff. He told me for a few years, you need to watch the cartoon. I'm like, cartoon is that's the kiddie thing. The Clone Wars is excellent, and I like Rebels too.
It's great.
They're both really good, and the new one is excellent too. You get to see some, you know, other Jedis and what went on kind of in between some other things happening in the movies. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. I just need to get everything happening so we can watch it together.
Yeah, well, hopefully they keep coming out with the stuff, you know. And that's another thing. If you're a toxic fan, quit watching them and shut up, because if all that bad press and when you do that stuff, it causes them not to make more stuff. You know, all the bad mouthing on Solo, you know, they're not making another Solo movie. And come on, guys, it wasn't that bad. At least it was a movie about him, and they probably, you know, it could have been a better, you know, number 2. You don't know, but if you just totally trash everything they do, they think you don't like it. So,
to be fair, I wish they'd stopped at episode 7 then, because that one was fine, and then 8 and 9 were terrible. So,
yeah, and I guess
if only the bad mouthing had worked then.
Yeah, well, you know, well, you know, everybody. I don't think Lucas has as much say in a lot of the stuff.
Oh no, he does. He's out. They pretty much rejected everything. But you know, I know some people love him, but that's for me, I don't. But that's fine, you know.
Yeah, I love more. I don't hate any of them. I love some of them more than others, but you know, at least they're there. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I always caution everybody when you're talking about somebody's song they have written, something that they have created, painted, drawn, some movie somebody wrote. I mean, unless you wrote a better one, you know, that's make sure when you're judging everything, you kind of take that in consideration too, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've disliked anything else except for those 2 movies. I've liked every single other thing to some degree.
I can always find something I liked about the movies, you know. The story just happening, you know. I'm a pretty creative guy, so you know, after every one of those movies, I always start thinking about, man, I would have done this, and this would have been cool, and that, you know, going this way, but you know, I realize I'm not in charge of it, so I got
right. Well, we're not billionaires, but hey, the Texas Lotto is like 1.9 billion. So
I try to go get a ticket to all those every day. So
if I win or one of us wins, maybe we have some Disney power to
well,
change
you know
it.
what? I'll definitely get some stock in it. I would definitely buy a lot more machines and make a lot more props and have more people helping. That's for sure. Yeah. Oh, you know, talk about hating something. You know, now there's things in all of the series that I hate. I hate sloppy prop building. They have no excuse for it.
Oh, is this?
I stole that term from you, by the way. The sloppy prop stuff, and Andor. they've got these AK-47s that they barely modified.
I've,
God Almighty, that was the only thing that I just wish I could black that out on the screen, because there's no.
yeah, I've seen the pictures of it and people saying something, and it's a shame because it takes you out of the the world they're building. They're trying to bring you in and immerse you
Yeah,
into this experience, and then you see something like that, it just takes you right out of it. But
yeah,
then
I
I've
don't
also
get it.
seen counter arguments. Well, Star Wars just has an MG34 with some plastic on it. It's still an MG34. You know, I said like, sure, I guess, but
Yeah, but you know what?
that was
MG34,
at the time they made that movie. There was already
1970. Yeah.
40 years where that wasn't used anymore. So it wasn't like a
Yeah.
common everyday thing. And there
And
was
people still don't know what that is, by the way.
right.
Because when I come out with that DL-219, that thing, people didn't realize that that's an old German machine gun from World
Right.
War II. Still don't know it.
So the context matters. The popular culture context matters in how people perceive things. And everybody on the planet knows what an AK-47 is. It's
Yeah.
just the most recognizable shape
And
as
it's
far as weapons
okay
go.
that they used it, but they, number one, mags shouldn't be in it. They could have glued a crap load of Greeblies all over it,
Yeah.
you know, and that would have been a cool build, because you could get the base AK and then do some fun stuff
Yep.
to it, which some of the prop guys are notoriously great at that. And I don't know, I just that part right there, I had to really, really just kind of bury deep, because they, as good as all the other props were in that, as good as the scenery. I mean, you go from the you ain't seen it yet, but you go from the raw town life, you know, to being, you know, the high tech stuff of the Empire, and you know, it's all the stuff in between, and then they didn't spend, you know. I mean, hell, give me $20 and I'd have changed the look of that thing to look, you know, space age. You know, I mean, it just kind of, and
Yeah.
it was right in the forefront. I mean, these were hero blasters. It's kind of, they failed that one for sure, but
Yeah. Oh well. Oh well.
everything else I liked about it, you know, you'll see it. I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I need to either I'm gonna have to start watching it by myself, or I just have to force my child to watch it. It's like, you're gonna watch this.
Well, you know, they'll eventually find it, you know.
Yeah.
So,
But
well,
yeah, anyway. So back on topic. That's pretty exciting. Is there any other parts that need to be finished? They're all done.
every part is complete. Now, the machines, which you can't see behind me here, down through the shop, look down through the row there.
Yeah.
Actually, on the table there, you can see a whole bunch of new paintball guns. We just started selling the M3 Hellion. Just come out. The Nova came out. You know, I do paintball stuff. Those are stuff. But behind it, you can see a bunch of the Lee Enfields that we're getting ready to cut up for new Jawas, trying to make some of those for Christmas.
Oh, cool.
And then you can see the CNC machines. Eric's walking back and forth. He's actually on that machine's actually making barrels for the Leia right now. And every all the parts are done. I'm just making some quantities of a few things just to have some extras. But I mean, for those of you who have been waiting for this kit, I'll do build tutorials. I'm sure you will too, Scott. It's not that any one thing is hard. There's just a lot of parts to it.
Right.
So, you know, and I'll break it down, you know, so that everybody can enjoy it and put it together. And you know, this is probably my greatest masterpiece of replicating something. It is it's been a big build. When I start this thing 3 years ago, you know.
I don't know. I don't know when you actually started
Yeah.
putting metal making chips. I don't know. That was this year, wasn't it?
Well,
But there was a lot of
little over a year making chips.
Yeah,
Most of I don't. I hope you can see the detail.
Yes,
because the Margolin grip is a work of art. Okay, it is a beautiful piece, and I had to make one that simulated that with all the checkering, the logo,
yeah,
the recesses, everything. I mean,
and there's and both sides are different, so you have to make one completely different than the other.
Yep. Here's this one.
Yeah.
Here's this one. See, this has got a contour differently. This mold was expensive and was hard to make. The guy that did this checkering actually did it by hand. All that's hand done in the mold.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah.
Even the little shield
Everything.
with the arrow.
Yep. Just with templates and things. He did that was a lot of work. And that's what I kept saying all that time as I was posting about it is, I really couldn't go forward until I had that. I really couldn't do anything until I made sure the grips were complete. And they're not the real grips are what are they, Bakelite or something? They're pretty hard.
Probably they're real shiny and hard like that.
Yeah, and these are like an ABS plastic, and I had to make sure with shrinkage and other things, you and flashing, you may have to do a little trim and flashing to get them all snap in, but you know what, when they're on the blaster, they'll look perfect. They almost now they're pretty shiny. These are pretty shiny too. Probably not quite as shiny as the real ones,
but they can be buffed up. Yeah, they can be polished.
Yep, they can. Flame polished, by the way. You actually could do it with a torch.
Oh, just run some heat over them. Wow.
Just real quick. I would probably practice that before you hit it though.
Do you have a solution for the cord?
I haven't looked into that yet. I'm going to though. I got to get that wire. And it's some kind of wire. Where's mine at? Somewhere. I think you made the one that I have.
Yeah.
But I was probably going to put it on a mandrel and a drill and just turn it and cut it off. How'd you do it?
Made it out of wire? This is old camera flash cord. It's a sync cord.
Well, that's awesome. Where do we get that?
Oh, Jesus. That's expensive. And it's brittle because it's all very old. So it's pretty brittle. The ends, when you cut it, the ends want to start to split. But
what kind of cord is it?
It's a Nikon cord.
Huh.
It's a flash sync cord.
How are we going to get
so this would sit on the hot shoe and this would go on the flash, and you would have, we use these, my wife and I use these doing weddings and stuff. So you have your flash over here and you'd have your sync cord, or you put it wherever, on a remote.
Maybe the one I have is not from you, because this has coming a wire, it's kind of hard. I have to pull it up and show it to you.
Yeah, well, it should be, because the one I made, all y'all use these old Nikon cords.
Okay.
And you can buy them. You can still buy them on eBay, but the sync cords are expensive. I used damaged ones, so they weren't as expensive, but those are hard to come by because not very many people sell damaged stuff.
Right.
But you can probably get maybe 3, maybe 4 blasters out of one of these cords. Gotcha. There's a certain number of coils that are on the prop, the original prop, and this matches exactly. I mean, just its diameter here fits the extension perfectly. Right. Everything matched perfectly for this. I just happened upon it, and that's what I've been using ever since.
Well, if that's available, then I'm going to find some kind of wire or something to just twist around a mandrel to make it or something.
Yeah, because this stuff, the rubber and the plastic becomes real brittle and it just starts to fall apart. So it's not ideal. So don't start buying old vintage camera cords. It's not worthwhile.
Yep.
Yeah, if you can get a wire, like the modeling wire, like this stuff. It might even be the right diameter. Let me look.
I think I may have some of that.
Yes, it's the right diameter.
What is that? Just an aluminum?
Just an aluminum modeling wire that you would get like Michael's, or you can get on Amazon. The trick would be you can twist it, you can do whatever you want with it, but to do it in tight curls would be kind of difficult.
Well, that won't be too bad, because what you do, and this is one of the part in the front, of course, but yeah. I would hold this on a drill and probably have a long piece, and you just start it and have this spin. You can do it in a lathe too, where you just have the mandrel and you just get it hooked here and just let it twist on there real tight. Yeah. And probably the mandrel will be slightly or a little bit smaller than what you're going to put it on. that way when you take it off and it flexes back a little bit, you know, it fit right.
Well, this is the right diameter, so this would work. And it's easy to cut. You can cut it with, you know, wire snips or scissors or whatever. And
That's a
it's
good
super flexible. It's made for like putting inside clay models or something that's posable, so you can pose like figures or something like that.
Let's see. Writing that down right when I think I've got all the parts acquired. There's one more thing. There's a
I'll find the link for this actual one that I bought and send you the link.
Okay.
I bought this to do the vibro axis. You know, the long ass vibro axis where the blade and all that stuff in the hair dryer, they have those rods that kind of come out, and which those are turntable rods, and people were sending like stainless steel rods. I'm like, I can't bend that to fit these weird shapes. And so I was like, this is the only thing I can bend it, I can make it fit, it's malleable enough to where I can stick it where I need to stick it as I glue it and then shape it again, and if I need to. And so
does that stuff work hardened?
No, it's like an aluminum alloy.
Well, I mean, after you bend it a few times, or I mean, does it start hardening up where it'll stay? Because sometimes once you start bending things like that, they'll work harden.
Let's see. I think it'll get hot and break.
That means it's
You can still, it starts to get porous
yeah.
at the bend. I mean, look how many times I'm bending it though, and it's still fine.
That's some awesome stuff.
It's getting hot, but it's not broken yet.
Wow.
I don't know. Oh, it's gonna go now. There it goes. That's a lot of bending.
Yeah.
So it's,
well, if you're mistreating your prop that bad, then
yeah. I mean, you shouldn't have to be working that hard to get that shape.
No.
But if you can, I don't know if it's something you want to include with your kit, like, hey, pre-made coils or whatever, then that would be.
Well, that stuff right there, it wouldn't be hard to do. I could wind a whole bunch of that and clip them off. That way it'd be. I'm trying to get everything in there that I can. I have the, you know, of course, I've got Reed model cylinders left, which, you know, thank God before, you know, Mr. Reed over there is about 99 years old. We'd actually become pretty good buddies on the internet, and Kristen here talks to him, and I think he's got cancer. It's pretty bad shape. That's why he's not molding anymore of those things. But I was going to get that mold and bring it over here and try to use it, but it's literally so old, and it's on a molding machine that has a weird power. I guess they used to have a generator or something that did some odd power, even for being over in the UK, that it's really not functional anymore. So once these vintage ones get gone, they're gone. I'm going to turn metal ones, and, you know, we move on with our lives. So I got a few hundred of them, but that's it. And if you've noticed on the website, every time I start feeling like they're getting scared, I start bumping them up for about 50 cents at a time. You know, they're going up in price because they're gone, you know, the real ones.
Wow, that sucks. I have some. I don't have a lot. I have maybe like 9 left.
Yeah. Well, when people do a high-end DL44 build, it's awesome, you know, and you take your time and cut them up, and, you know, you're scrapping 3 of them to do it, you know.
But there's so many used for so many different props.
Yep. Well, I mean, eventually I'll be turning them out of metal. You know, I've already got the program to do it. I can copy them, you know, 1-to-1 in metal.
Could you machine them out of Delrin instead?
Could, yeah.
Because that would be, I don't know if it's cheaper than metal, but at least it'd be the right material.
Yeah, you know, Delrin and aluminum are probably close to the same price anyway. The only thing is, everybody keeps asking me to make them out of metal anyway. So, well, I always tell you, if the actual prop is plastic, they want it metal. If the real prop's metal, you 3D print the shit out of it and you don't give a damn. You know, it's the weirdest thing, you know.
Yeah, that's irksome.
Sorry for hurting the 3D printer guys' feelings. I do 3D print a few things, but I tell you what, 3D printing, you won't 3D print that in detail. I tell you that.
I mean, it's got its place. I understand the people who want to cosplay with it and stuff like that and troop, because I did Halloween one time with my real Sterling, and after like 10 minutes, I was like, let me find some place to put this down. I was like, damn, this sucks
Yeah.
after a while.
I got some UK buddies over there that have been in the service over there that carried them for real, and they would agree with you. Yeah,
It's not a light, it's small, but it's not light.
no, it's made to last, and they did.
Yeah.
The steel.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, I mean, I'll let you what I'm working on here. Does that show up, Scott? I can't
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
see it.
But you can see back here all of the screws that are here and ready to go. Had them custom made so the heads would be, you know, look the same on the blaster. Working on springs, and I showed you these before, but there's a whole lot of really neat, intricate springs that make this thing work. I mean, it ought to be a fun build. You know, I went before you called, Scott. I was working on getting the safety to work. Let me get back in action here. Okay. The safety.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? I've had some people contact me, tell me some of the Marlins don't have the safety in them. Is there screen reference for that? Because I know the version in A New Hope has one, but I don't know about Return of the Jedi.
Let's look together.
Because, yeah.
Here we go. This is the original prop from Bapti. It has the safety.
It is safety's there.
Yep.
Yep.
I would imagine they did
Jedi,
not
right?
alter anything. Let's see. Safety's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, it's not a very functional safety. So I can see that some people shooting them for Olympics may have taken it off.
Yeah.
But you can totally see that it's there, and you can see the reflection of it in the other pictures from that angle. But
yeah, you see the back part of it gets in the little back section there.
Yeah.
But you can man, I'm glad you got, I can see you got all those pictures just lined up ready to go there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I did. But just so people can see, this is what it does. It comes down in the way. It's like really obtrusive. Like it's right in your way. There's no way your finger's going to hit that before you really pull the trigger.
And also the part you can't see in the back of it, this piece here is, let me get this knot to reflect here. Okay. It's hard to do this in reverse. I've got a little dowel in there that's not fitting. I've got to get a screw. That's what I'm sitting here working on. This part in the back, like he says, it blocks the hole here.
Yeah.
But when you go up out of the way, locks in another hole. I've got both indents for that. This piece back here blocks the slide.
Right. Okay.
Slide.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. See that there's two of it. Keeps you.
But it also
and then hits there.
It will stop the hammer, and then oh shit, it did fire. That safety didn't work. Oh, it wasn't down all the way. Okay.
Yeah, I even put them in here. There's two indentions, which you'd have to take the grips off, Scott, but there's two indentions where this guy here was a tough one to do. Look at that.
Yeah.
That was a stamping I had to do to copy it. Now, also, does the top of your, let me drop it here. Look right here where your fingers go. Can you see the knurl?
Yeah, it's got a knurl. It's got a pattern.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it right there.
There you go. That's it. But you see, I mean, even down to the smallest detail on some of this stuff, I've captured it or tried to. And also the other stamp part, which I've shown this before, but even on the trigger, look at all that work. It's not just a flat piece. There's some little curves. Even the piece here that the slides that catches the upper slide.
Yeah, it's like if you take a Glock or a modern like a polymer pistol and you take off the top and you look down, all those, they're all got funky shapes to them.
Yep. So all of that, the dowel that goes in here, then the pivot dowel.
Damn, that's safe. Okay, the safety is not a very good safety, to be truthful.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never actually fired one, so that'd be one thing.
There's an extra detent here.
Yep.
And when it's all the way down, it will lock the slide back. I don't know what the purpose of that is because it doesn't do that when empty.
Yeah.
Well, like when you're firing the gun and it's empty, the slide always comes back forward. I don't know if this is for cleaning, what the original intent is for it, but it's the only way the slide will lock back is if that safety is all the way down in the farthest down position.
It will go down there. To where, because I mean, even in the back here, it has the range of motion, you know, to go to catch
Right.
that. It's, huh.
Spam.
Neat.
Yeah, it's funky. So I found that it can also when it's in the slide lock, when you push it up to the first intent, it lets the slide go forward, and it should be safe. Yeah, it won't fire now. And then that's fire. So it's kind of a funky safety. I can understand why people would get rid of it. Because this was a competition pistol, supposedly.
Yeah.
And there's a half cock. I don't know what that is. That maybe that's for safety. Maybe they put it on half cock and then locked it in so that it couldn't bump fire, because I think the hammer rests on the firing pin.
Yeah. That's just for the safety. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Weird.
Interesting. It's an
Haven't gone out and shot mine yet. I guess if I ever put it back together, I will.
It's fun. It's a fun gun. And it's a 22. It's cheap to shoot.
Yeah. Well, at least you can find ammo for it now. So
Yeah, I haven't bought ammo in years now. But the only thing is it gets dirty quick. It's 22 so dirty.
yeah. What else do we got here? I mean,
I don't know. How are the bowcasters going?
Bowcasters are doing really well. Going through those, I'm starting to see a lot of pictures.
Yeah. Chris
yeah.
is here.
Nice. I think that one's a pretty easy build. I think probably the toughest just thing to do is just get all that scope mechanism all clamped together correct. But
that honestly, the hardest parts were the roll pin stuff.
oh yeah. Well, I've gone back and loosened some of those up. Those first few kits out, man, I did them like they're functional. I mean, like,
Yeah,
because it was off of scanning. So yeah, you had to use a mallet or something to press them in. But I've gone back and loosened those way up. Sometimes I forget we're gonna glue stuff rather than
right.
worried about something going into.
I did really like the trigger solution with the magnets.
Yeah,
that's cool because it works so perfectly.
Can't take credit for that. Actually, when we were drawing it up, it's in a spot. There's 3 holes if you hadn't seen it. Might not be able to see it on yours because it's flat, but
yeah,
you've got these 3 holes and they're on the
1, 2,
they're
3.
off the real bow. And this was the pivot, for the trigger.
Yep.
These 2 are the top ones are the stops. And so trying to get a spring down in here somewhere, and fasten the spring, it was tough because it's at a weird angle. And John Blanton, who does a lot of the programming here, is like going, well, hell, these are steel. Let's just put a magnet in the front of the thing, and it actually it made it a lot easier, especially for assembly.
And it's easy and it's satisfying. It's got a nice satisfying click to it.
It does. It actually, and the click's kind of an artifact of it just hitting that hollow pin.
Yeah, it's cool. It's super cool. When it's all done and said, it's a really neat.
Good. I have. I think there's a lot of people asking about getting individual parts. I did put the. I still get this question. I actually did the assemblies on the site so you can get whatever you need for whatever you're doing. I think what's happening is a lot of people have found Horton bows of some variation,
cutting out the insides.
Yeah, and doing that, and they're wanting to use some of this stuff, and there's been I guess some other people have made parts and pieces, but they're finding out real quick that the scaling don't work. So the parts I did, they're based off scaling the real Horton variant that they used, and the screenshots. So,
Are the other bows that are similar shape not the same size?
man, you know what? I can't say across the whole spectrum of it because I don't see every time what they're using, but no, they're not. One of the biggest things I'm seeing is I think somebody's actually made a scope mount, which this there again, I'm getting really good at all this bent metal stuff, but Marcus over in Germany, hey Marcus, and getting a scan one of these, he helped get this, like the real, bow, because
Yeah.
they have the real bow. Once I knew what size and had one of these, I was able to scale these pieces. And once I scaled those pieces, the barrel dimension and all of these things fell into place. I always say when we're scaling stuff, if the math works here, it works all the way around, because we're looking at stuff a lot of times, this, it's like
Right.
this right here. This is small back here and this gets huge way up here.
Yeah.
That camera eye view or whatever. So everybody's maybe there's a few people fighting that, but I think this is probably all the math worked out when I did it. So I figure like we're probably pretty close.
And it's big, but the thing that makes it really unwieldy is the bow part.
Yep.
Because the rest of it's not that big. In fact, it's quite a bit. If I stand them up, it's way shorter than the EE3.
Yep.
That's hard to see on the camera, but the length is probably about, well, good 4 inches or so.
And that's nice. Who's that for? That's commission build, isn't it?
Yeah. Damn, I blanked on his name. What the heck? Joseph.
That's it.
Right. So this is his, and the weather's been real crap lately, so I can't just go paint. I'm waiting for weather to calm down and the sun to come out so I can paint. But everything else is done.
Man, that's nice.
It looks kind of cool.
You paint over the T-track?
Yeah, because the original is painted over the T-track.
Really?
That's nice. Let's see. Let me find the pictures I can show you.
I've had people ask me that.
About the finish?
Well, yeah, whether to paint over the T-track or not.
All right, I will show you. Hold up. Okay, can you see this?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so these are pictures of they made a bunch of them, but this is one of the hero ones. If you look closely at the T-track here, you can see how many colors are involved. You've got the black plastic, you've got a primer gray underneath it, and you've got this dark chalky gray, and then you've got hand painted rust and weathering and stuff like that on top of it. So they put a lot of hand work into this paint job.
I've always wondered that being in a high-tech space society, how they would keep their weapons so rusty and dirty.
Yeah. Look, you can see how they just applied a black wash here, and it just ran down the sides.
Oh yeah.
You can see it better on this side where it just ran.
Man, that scope looks.
It's a real scope, and I have a picture somewhere where you can see the front, and it's still got the masking tape over the lens. Is it this picture? Yeah, you can still see the masking tape over the lens.
Oh wow.
Pretty neat.
Didn't even pull it off, yeah.
But yeah, so these things, you can see this is a resin cast, but they made multiple versions of it because they had to have it cut apart or break apart for, let's see if one of these is, they had ones without the scopes on them with it broken off, and they had it here where it was cut for when Luke Skywalker chops it in half. And this one has screws in the barrel and in the T-track. So they made multiples of these things. They even had one with electronics.
Wow.
Excuse me. In the stock, there's a whole plate here with switches and shit, and you never see that on both sides too. And there's even a little like a polycarbonate clear window with an LED inside. You just never saw that. I don't know how when that got used or what, but it exists.
Wonder if that was for like personal appearances
Here.
or doing parades or anything like that. Just to
Here's a picture of that window with the LEDs under there.
what year would that have been made?
I don't know. The movie came out in 83, so they had to been making it like 80, early 80s.
Wow.
Well, I mean, they were doing Empire Strikes Back. It released in 80, so they probably started pretty soon after that. I'm sure there are people who know better about the production schedule, but it had to be 81, 82.
Right.
And these are not great in focus pictures, but they're good pictures of the original props. And here's the other variant of the muzzle.
Yep. One day when I get back around to it, I'll make the other one.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I wish we knew what this that stock Greebly was.
Yeah. Yeah, where it came from.
Yeah, that thing.
Well, I can tell you, it's probably out of a model somewhere. We just hadn't found it.
Yeah. But yeah, this is cool. This I like personally. I like this better than the Empire Strikes Back version. This one of the Empire Strikes Back one is cool, but with the Molex connectors on the side and everything, it becomes more clunky. I think
Yeah,
this is more streamlined.
I love making it though.
Yeah,
I agree with you about that one. That was definitely more interesting overall. But I love making those clamps, and then the Molex. And you know what? I went ahead and because I think you used to use magnets to hold them on, and I went ahead and pinned them.
I did.
You about can't tear them off.
I remember we were talking about it one day, and I said, "What about? Why don't we pin it? Then they
Yeah.
won't come off."
Yeah,
Well,
and
then-
it works well.
Yeah, so mine are pinned now too.
You put a little super glue in that when you do it.
No,
it won't come off.
It was tight enough that I didn't need to.
Yep.
But I don't ever touch this thing. It just sits up on a shelf.
Well, that's kind of the type of replicas we're making. We're making displays, not go tear them up in a, going trick or treating, so, or
Yeah.
going to a convention where somebody steals half of it.
I still have my.
I'm replacing a counter box. A guy lost his Heinzer counter a couple weeks ago, trooping, fell off. He didn't realize, and it was a real counter.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've got some extras and I'm selling him one to put it back on. But he had it on there. He had it glued on, and I guess that's what happened in filming too with a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sucks when you lose one of those because some of those counters they'll bring $300 to $500, and it's just somebody probably found it and threw it in the trash, not knowing what it was. Looks like a piece of junk.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hate to lose anything off of this.
And that's your personal one?
Yeah.
How about the MPP at the end?
It's real. It's a real MPP.
Yeah, you suck. Yeah.
I even left the camera flash internals. Now it's the one with the flat flange.
Yeah.
All the ones for the lightsabers had the rounded off one, but it's still an MPP. So
yeah, well, what do those cost now?
Oh my God, I don't know. I think the last few went for $5,000-$6,000 or more. I'm not sure. I really don't know.
Well,
I know one sold
like anything. Somebody just found another engine, for the and they're selling, but those what do they want, like $9,000 a piece for the balance pipes?
That's insane.
I mean,
That's
still
insane.
he's got 9.
I know he didn't spend that much on the engine. There's no way.
Yeah, I think the engine, I don't know, he won't say, but I think they spent a good bit on the engine because from where it was.
But not 9,000 per balance pipe for the engine, because otherwise he wouldn't have been able to afford it.
Right. Yeah, well, I don't blame him as rare as those things are,
Well, what's funny is
worries right now. Hell, get the booster. Or
Yeah,
even a booster.
now the balance pipe isn't that rare because there's so many have turned up. The
Yeah.
booster is the
I mean,
hardest part.
I don't know, there's 50 or 60 of them things probably out there now, but still the
Yeah.
boosters, somebody
When
probably
we
asked 20 grand for those.
when we got that engine, I don't remember. I have to look back at the conversation now how much it was, but we sold. We ended up getting the female balance pipes for 700 something a piece, I think.
Yeah.
When we split the cost equally between everybody.
I think I gave Roman, he had an extra one he sold me, but I think I gave him 5 grand for it.
Ugh.
Well, I mean,
Well, I sold my extra
time
one
for him
for,
now, you know.
I sold my extra one for a mint too, but because I know I'd never get it again. I knew I would never get it again. I knew it. I said, if this leaves, I will never get one again because it'll be
No,
so expensive that I will just
no.
never be able to.
And all of that stuff like that. Well, an MPP, what did you say them go for? You find an MPP because that's a Vader lightsaber, right?
They're pretty rare.
I've never seen one, and usually that unicorn type finds, you know, I kind of go after those. I've never seen one.
I luckily I got my first one off eBay for like $600. And I
Yeah,
thought that was
yeah.
expensive at the time.
No, you can't buy a Graflex for that.
Yeah, and this one I got pretty cheap too, because it came from somebody who just didn't need it, and it didn't have the right front for the lightsaber, and it didn't have a shroud. I guess they used the shroud for something else. It had a replica shroud. I said, I don't care. I'm using it for this. I don't need anything else. So I had the clamp, and I sold the clamp, and I got this. So it works for me.
I keep telling you guys, y'all been in it for a long time. Y'all keep selling off all that rare stuff, man. It just keeps getting worse. It keeps going up.
I even thought about selling this. I was like, man, this could be a really cool guitar if I sold this. But I don't think anybody can afford this because the Webleys are so expensive now.
Well, I actually have I've got 2 Webleys. I've got one of them I'll sell. Okay. And I've had it up. Somebody was asking about it. I need to follow back up, but I've got 2 Webleys, and one of them is signed by Jeremy.
Yeah.
And the other one's not. That's the one I lost. I thought got stolen. I found, but I don't need 2. I'll probably sell it if anybody's interested. Having
I thought about it, but I was like, I don't know. I think these go for $5,000+. The MPP,
I was asking
5,000.
The right one, yeah, they're worth 5.
I think people have been asking crazy amounts of money for Hunter scopes, so I don't think there's very many of those out there.
No.
The rest of the stuff is, these are real, but they're not that hard to come by, I guess.
Well, they are.
The plugs.
Yeah, the plugs.
Yeah, the plugs are, but not.
They're a little difficult. You can find them, but they're difficult.
Yeah, and I still have a couple extra of these things, the safety.
Yeah, little switch box of things. Yeah, I've got the ones. I actually got that switch from you and found another one, but no, they're rare as hell. They're hard to find.
Yeah, but this Webley's in all original shape, so it's pretty cool. But I think I'll just keep it. I'll never get it again if I sell it.
No,
it's
like all those Hensholts you've sold.
Oh my god,
you're never gonna see them again either.
Nope. I sold over 20.
Yep.
And when I first not very high prices either.
Before I knew you, and Henry was telling me, no, there's this guy. He does DL44s, man. It's Crucible props, and seeing what people were paying, I was sitting there thinking, that guy gave $700 for that old German scope, because I collect military stuff, and I'm thinking, wow, that thing must be really special. By the time I got looking for them, the damn things are $3,000 and $4,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Graflexes too. I used to have like 20 or so of those, and I sold them all before the Force Awakens hit. And I could barely get $350 for them at the time. That's for like mint perfect condition. Then after that movie came out, they boom, $1,000.
Well, there's one thing. All of that original trilogy stuff, they don't make any more of it.
Yeah.
The vintage stuff is from the turn of the century, World War I, World War II. It was collectible to begin with before it went into a movie, and now you can forget it.
Yeah.
The only people I see turn up anything, the guys in Germany, and Marcus and all you guys, Ian, and they must be going around to the little museums and buying stuff out of. I don't know if you've ever been to Europe. There's little museums on every corner,
Yeah.
and they must be buying them out of the museums because
Well,
they're not in the open.
They're in the right place too for all that stuff too.
Yep.
Most of that stuff is pretty scarce in the US, especially in good shape or not cut to bits.
Yep. That's true. So all the M19s and M38s, they were on the early Shermans. So all those things went over to Europe and we didn't bring them back. They were left there. So,
yeah. Well, I still get people asking about live fire, these things. And I keep telling them, no, get this. Then you don't have to worry about dealing with a firearm.
Well, every time I get the question on, and it's usually on eBay, wanting to know the dimensions for the bull barrels and the MG81 flash hider, and right then I know what they're doing. And they say, well, they bought a Mauser Bolo and it's the wrong one, and they're trying to make a live fire, and I do my best because I love you, Scott, and I send them all to you so that you can deal with them. Because that live fire stuff's hard.
It is hard. I mean, it took me months to figure out how to get them to be reliable. And even each one still is a struggle.
Yeah, well, they want to pick up the $1,500 bolos, and it's expensive.
They find a cheap mouse, and I'm like, dude, you can't make a live fire out of something that could blow up in your face. It'd be bad. You gotta make it safe. You have to get one in good condition.
You know what? It's such a pain in the butt to do it for a customer too, and I think the cost of it makes it prohibitive. And like you're saying, I've got all the. I don't know if you can see back here or not. I had to make a new area in my shop just to do some of these props since you've been here, Scott. All these. Do the steel one, or the aluminum, build it from that. If you do it right, it'll look just like the real one. Especially if you do it for them, it will look exceptionally well. Also, if you're just wanting something to hang on the wall, I've got all the aluminum versions too, which, like everything, you'll hate me, Scott, but the aluminum one sells better.
I imagine it's all about price. Yeah.
Yes, the price.
It's hard to fight with that.
Correct. It's nice shooting, does all the stuff. You put all the greeblies on it, but it's a little better on the pocketbook, and you don't have to do any work to it, which all you guys out there and that follow all this stuff, the reason why we do this is to have something to do. I mean, this is a hobby. If you could buy this stuff at Kmart, what's the fun in that? The collecting part, the building part, the learning part, is what makes it fun. I mean, there's a lot of details to this,
Well, the funny thing is like I see people sell these once in a while, the ones that I've built, and sometimes they're older, which is like a Denix or something like that, but they tend to age.
Yep.
It's amazing to see how much they change from when they've been shipped out from my house, and then how people have handled them or done whatever. And then when I see the next picture, I'm like, geez, that doesn't look anything like how it did when I sent it out.
Well, they probably do stuff to it and they play with it. You never know. I've seen several things like you're talking about, Denixes and things you've done. I don't know how long you've been doing it, but some of them I think are about 20 years old.
Not that I haven't been doing it that long, but
it's been a while. But just watching the evolution, of what you knew back then and what we know now.
Yeah.
Because I got all that information basically from you guys to learn that. I got to cheat and miss all those years of y'all figuring that out.
Yeah, processes change. You can do things a little bit more efficiently, easier, more consistent, stuff like that. And then, but the main thing is when people handle them and play with them, they add like so much more realism to them because it starts to wear naturally.
Or put them in a holster.
Yeah. Just farting around with it. Like I have these on my desk, and they just start to wear the paint off just from picking it up once in a while, and it starts to just look more natural without, and collects dust,
Yeah.
and that's good over time.
Well, everything in the Star Wars franchise is dirty. There's nothing really pristine clean. Everything's like that.
Yep.
So,
But
but it's fun, and that's the reason we do this. I mean, if these things were on every street corner, they wouldn't have any value.
yeah,
I saw somebody sold one of the steel ones, from a couple years ago that you did, and that thing brought good money. I was really surprised. I mean, somebody sold it, and I don't know exactly. I have to go back and look at the feed, but knowing what the parts cost and what you charge to do stuff, I mean, they did good. Somebody wanted it fast and wanted it now.
yeah.
So hell, when we're dead, all this stuff's going to be worth millions, man.
Man, I think people don't realize how much work goes into it.
Yep. Well, it does, and what little prepping I do with just some of the black ones takes a lot of time going through and weathering stuff. I mean, not to mention it's an art form, which, by the way, if you're doing prop building, you ought to learn it. Good, bad, or ugly, start somewhere. That's why we build these kits.
Yeah.
Build them, learn it. If you don't have time and you get Scott to build one, take a look at what he's done. There's a lot of detail in this stuff. You can take this as far as you want it to go.
The hand filing alone, I think on the steel ones is I mean, I'll be filing for a day and a half or 2 days sometimes, just filing, getting everything smooth and filed and try to look like the real ones.
Yep. That's the fun part, though.
I don't just get it and glue it and throw it together.
Well, there's people do that. They look okay, but you know what? There's one good thing about that steel one. If you did that, a couple years ago and you got better, you can take that thing down and you can go do all that stuff again and re-blue it. Do it again too. You can evolve it.
That's true. The aluminum one would be harder, especially if it's anodized or something like that.
Now the anodized ones are no fun to do that. I tell you, that stuff's pretty hard, but it's not designed for that. That's designed to look like what it is.
Right.
You got it new out of the box. It's on the wall. If you're doing screen accurate stuff, that's probably not the way to go. Step up a little, get the steel one.
What I've heard people ask me, is it hard to weather anodizing? I said, yes, it's hard. That coating is hard.
Yes.
It'll come off on the edges, the sharp corners, but the rest of it's very hard to scratch off.
Yeah. Well, it's designed for that. And, so that's why I offer both. Everybody sees the aluminum ones, I think, a little bit more, but the steel ones are so cool. Don't give up on those guys. If you're wanting to do it right, save a little bit more money and get the steel one, especially while I'm still making them.
And you know what people should really get is this. This is still one of my favorites.
I just made another batch of those for Christmas. Okay. Cause I got down to like none of the non-painted ones. I had a few of the black ones left, but I just made another batch of them. So we'll have them for that weekend or whatever.
These are super cool.
That's one of the coolest things I've done. And, I don't know if people really realize if you need something simple and fun to do, that's a simple build and it's super cool.
And I think if people,
it's all over the Mandalorian.
I know if people just picked it up, they'd be like, oh, wow. There's a tangible connection. Once you put it in your hand, it really changes how you feel about it.
I love how you got the back shiny like the real Bakelite.
Yeah,
man,
I sanded that super smooth. There's not a machine mark anywhere on there, which they were already pretty smooth.
Yeah, I have to profile that. I think you'll see on my feeds where it's in the machine getting turned and profiled machine, because it's not standard machining doing that. And you know what? If that one's sold in big enough quantities, like the DL44, I would mold that back there and save a lot of time. But it's just that one doesn't sell in the kind of quantities to be able to do that. But the back on the real one actually is Bakelite, which that's some kind of old plastic they used to make gun parts out of. If you're not familiar with it, but He's got the color on that really nice. That's how it would look.
It's
Hold it up
cool.
closer.
Let's see if I can change the focus on this.
That's what sucks about the camera on this laptop. I can't do that.
I have to do it manually. There we go.
That's not bad.
It's weathered, so it does have some age on it, but
yeah. Well, the real ones, they're kind of scuffy on the side where they've laid it down, or it's been slid in a holster too, because that's apart from an old flare gun, old Navy flare gun.
Yeah, it's pretty. It feels good in the hand though.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's Boba Fett's new sidearm. And I think Mando's the one that actually took it off of that guy in one of the episodes and put it in the Razor Crest.
It's cool. Yep. All right.
I hope next season Mando steals him another Razor Crest.
Well, he needs some kind of cargo, I guess, cargo area. His starfighter is cool, but maybe he needs another ship that he can attach with the starfighter to, and then pop it off when he needs to go run fast or something.
Yeah. Well, that starfighter, somebody told me that was Anakin's starfighter. It's got his insignias or whatever on the side of it.
Oh, it's the same.
It's the same cool. Starfighter. I think Henry or somebody told me that, and I heard it from somebody else. But they're looking at the little logos and the markings, and from back in those prequels or whatever. That was his ship sitting there.
That was the one he blew up the droid ship with.
Yeah,
I never paid that close of attention, but that's kind of cool. But I know they used his pod racer parts in some. Now I have to watch the show again. I can't remember, but his pod racer parts showed up in something.
Well, I like seeing that aspect of it when they start tying in all the junk where it went to. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we got off topic a million times, like we always do, but it was fun.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But you got stuff to do, and it's already almost 12 there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right at it. Yeah, no, my focus today is to try to make sure I get all the springs. Well, there's a couple of springs I've got to get for the sight and the hammer taken care of, and get all the dowels here, and then deburr and get these frames cleaned up. It's a lot of stuff to do. So
and I'll send you the link for that wire.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I got, and then that'll be probably a lot easier than camera cord.
Yeah.
Keeper too.
Well, if I can find enough camera cord, it'd be great. But when you got to do 100 sets of something, finding vintage parts ain't always the answer. So
it wouldn't be worth it because there's just a lot of it will fall apart.
It's that old.
Money wasted. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, guys.
All right.
Everything's happening.
Thanks for watching.
Comments? Yeah, go to our Facebook pages, hit like. I'm Christopher Field Marshal Vandenberg with Blaster Factory, and
I'm Scott Juarez with Crucible Custom Props. And don't forget, there's a giveaway for one of these Leia Blasters. I will put the link for that video in the description of this video.
Yep.
So definitely check it out and answer the secret question. And that's enter your
I'll
thing.
get the links put on my sites too. So good deal, guys. See ya.
Right now, there's not very many people in the vying for that. So those people's chances are really good at winning it.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, it takes constant putting it out there. I see people hitting likes on everything we're doing, and they might be not going the extra mile and filling out the application or doing what you got there to sign up for it. But yeah, somebody.
All they got to do is comment on it with an answer to the question, and I think subscribe to both of our channels.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
And every Patreon person of mine has an extra entry just because.
Do it.
Don't worry, guys. There's not too many of them.
And there ought to be.
There's, double digits.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. All right, guys. Bye.